Here we are. We've made it to Silverstone's probably most famous corner combination, turns 10 to 14, namely Maggotts, Becketts, and Chapel. The speed you can carry into and through this corner combination is truly mesmerizing, especially in high downforce cars. Since the corners are so interdependent, the line is quite specific and it's all about smooth load changes. We're going to focus mostly on the racing line, how and why we get to that racing line, and lastly, as always, we're going to look at some common mistakes that we see people make throughout Maggotts, Becketts, and Chapel. So we're just exiting Copse Corner before gently bringing the curb back over to the right, and smooth turn into T10, clipping the curb. Again, lots of curb through turn 11, and then it's all about smooth load changes. Be gentle on the steering, and it's all about the exit out of this one. Take lots of inside curb, and then back on the power as soon as you can for the long following hanger straight. To get the best possible line out of a corner complex like this, it's actually best to traverse backwards. So think about what you need. You need the fastest possible exit onto the following straight, which means you need to be flat out by the time you exit turn 13, which is Chapel, that we go into now. And you can see we stay alongside the curb there for quite a while to get a flat out exit. Equally, that means you need to prepare the car for that move as soon as you exit the corners before. And you can see really we're kind of sacrificing the exit of each corner all the way to the very final one, because the exit is actually what's the most important part here. It's followed by a long straight, and it's probably one of the best overtaking spots around the entire track. Let's check this out in slow motion and see what we mean by that line. So you can see, let's just stop it here. You can see that board on the right hand side, and that's a really good indicator for your turn-in point into turn 10, the initial part. And we're turning quite late. By doing that, actually get on the flat curb, and you can see it as we stop here. We have a really wide entry into Maggotts, take a lot of curb, and importantly, let's stop it again. We don't run all the way to the left on the exit in order to get an even wider entry into the following section. Remember what we looked at when we said we're traversing backwards. It's all about sacrificing certain parts in the initial parts of this corner combination so that you can focus on the all-important exit onto the hanger straight. Following that, you can see we're getting wide, getting onto the curb. Let's stop here. So we're taking quite a bit of curb through Becketts, and again, we're not running wide on the exit. Let's keep going, go towards the middle of the track to get a slightly wider entry into Chapel. And you can see we're taking a huge amount of curb here in F1 cars. You couldn't do that in GT and road cars, absolutely. As you can see, we're even clipping the tiny sausage curbs around Chapel, and you can do that as long as you get off the curb at the very end. Don't clip the grass, otherwise you're going to go into a spin, and then really run all the way to the apex curb T14, which is really just the exit of Chapel Corner. Looks simple in theory, but actually a lot of drivers struggle. So let's dive into the mistakes section. The first mistake we see quite a lot is just applying too much brake pressure as you change direction. What happens? Let's see what happens here. 50% brake pressure, all the weight of the car moves to the front, the rear gets really light, and as a result, we even go into a spin. Another thing you should be wary of is taking too much curb. So we can see clipping a lot of curb here, which works fine if you're not turning a lot, but let's check out Chapel's inside curb. So extreme amounts of curb, and then we dip our tire into that grass bit, and that's what you should definitely avoid. As you can see, we're almost going into spin, just saving it there. So stay away from the very inside of those inside curbs. The most problematic mistake that we see usually, though, is messing up the initial corners and then still wanting to commit too much to the rest of them. So you can see it here, we're taking turn 11's curb quite nicely, but running too wide on the exit. Thereby we mess up the following Beckett's corner just a bit more. And we still want to keep all the speed going. Let's stop it here into Chapel just before the curb, and you can see it. We just don't have the line that we need, right, to carry that much speed. We start understeering, run wide, and completely mess up the exit, which is so important as we get onto the following straight. Let's wrap up with the main points of Silverstone's probably most famous corner combination. The fact that the Maggotts, Becketts, and Chapel combination is followed by the really long hanger straight means that the focus should solely be on the exit out of this corner complex. What does that mean for you? Traverse backwards in terms of your racing line, as we showed in the example racing line animation, which means you sacrifice the first few corners just that tiny bit to get a better exit onto the following straight. As this corner combination involves changing direction at quite high speeds, be gentle as you lean from the left to the right and back. Be gentle on the brakes, be smooth, but do use the brakes to help your car rotate from one corner to the other.